Thank you. 8 o'clock, and there we are. It looks like we're out there. I have red marks upon my screen. I just need people to tell me it's working, and then we can rock. So yes, we have a viewer. Would that viewer like to comment and tell me that they can hear my voice? Good morning, Walter, in Australia. Good man. Am I coming through loud and clear, Walt? You getting any excellent. Right, I'm not running any music yet, so it should just be the mic. I'll wait until a few more people jump on before I commence proceedings with the preview. So look at my dashboard. Ah, yes. Pip, come on. Everybody gets a like that shouts out. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Jones. And thanks for investing. Meggie, you beautiful man. Right then. Well, I'll give it another 5 minutes before I start the album, because people only moan about bits that they've missed. All good, Steve-o. Excellent. That's what we like to see. Here. Just switch me ringer off so we don't get interrupted. Pardon me. We don't get interrupted with rude notifications. Gilly. Welcome, brother. Mr. Jones. Righteous vibes in the area. Welcome, Moscow's brother. Thank you for joining me and our assorted brethren in the chat. As you can see, there's a plot going on in the background that I thought I'd instigate. A little bit of visual candy. A plot of the artwork of the sleeve, in fact, that I had commissioned. Fred, New Jersey. Excellent. Welcome, New Jersey. Hello, Jackie. Thank you for joining us. So, yeah, let's roll some tunage, and we can check that as well. Hopefully we can have a decent level. It's not drowning me out, or at some kind of whisper threshold. Yeah, you're a good man, Phil. Tell Jake to join us. So this is Viva Melvin, the first track on the album, which was dedicated to a pigeon that I found about in 2021, in fact. Well, I didn't find it. It was flightless in our back garden. I discovered it, and I documented the process on social media. Good evening, Rob. Hi, Dad. Shout out to Rod Cobby in the area. I said I'd give you one, Chief. Thanks for jumping on, Dad. Yeah, so I'd found a flightless pigeon, and I should actually later for that. I've got pictures of the pigeon. Yeah, and I kind of fell in love with him. Beautiful bird, and christened him Melvin. And then I was going to call the album Viva Melvin, but it ended up just being a track title. So this is the one, the opener. Bit of gentle acoustic vibes, bit of flute in there. Recently learned, well, no, 3 years now I've been playing. Still pretty rusty. I had some lovely feedback. I put the album out this morning. In fact, I've had some lovely feedback from listeners and customers, so thanks for that, everybody who's invested. And yeah, I'll be launching the vinyl campaign shortly, in fact, for all those that wish to own it on wax. Oh, Melvin, where's Melvin? Oh yeah, sorry, so I was telling the Melvin story. So he appeared in the back garden, and I rang a lost pigeon line, and they were like, because it had a ring on his leg, and the guy I spoke to was like, no, it's not registered with anybody, you know, you can keep it, type of thing. I thought, fantastic, because I'd really fallen from it at this point. It was about 2 days. I've been feeding him, had him in a cage outside, and then yeah, he kind of got the strength together from the food and water I'd been giving him, and just chipped off into a blue sky one day, and I didn't think I'd see him again. And then the next day I was in the shed here, and there was the pitter-patter of tiny claws on my roof, and there he was. Came back to see me one last time, and then away for good. Never saw him again after that. But yeah, apparently he was a Birmingham tumbler. I know a few of those. Bram. Birmingham tumbler. Do little somersaults in the air. So yeah, that's the first track, Viva Melvin. And wherever he is now, I hope he's in fine fettle. Thanks for that, Walter. Enjoying the flute on this particular one. So yeah, a little bit of gentle beatbox here. I didn't want to do anything overstated. I wasn't really sure about putting drums on it, to be honest, but I ended up throwing it in there just as a bit of decoration at the back end, because it didn't really kind of hang together, just as acoustic all the way through for like 5 minutes. So Viva Melvin, Viva Melvin. That's that nicely completed. So on to track 2, which is Tang Ping. Pardon me, I'm on the one. Tang Ping, yeah, a bit proggy this one. Now this one's got Gary Hammond on percussion. I got Gary in to do a session, and he ended up on a couple of tracks. Fantastic percussionist. Works with the Beautiful South, or used to when they were on the go. So he came in and did some mainly bongos and congas, and then he had a fantastic toolbox stuff like air toe, bits and bobs that he brought with him, and decorated both tracks fantastically. I didn't really have to edit it much, to be honest. Really solid, tight player. There he is, banging away on his congas. So yeah, Tang Ping, the title. Buenos dias. Alright, Angelo. Buenos dias, no, that's Spanish, isn't it? Italian, what is it? It's Italian for good evening. Hola. Anyway, yeah, thanks for joining us, Angelo. Yeah, Tang Ping. That's that synth for the spotters. That's the Prophet sequential circuits, Prophet 600 for the proggy noodling. And then that's not me playing that flute. That was me playing that key. That's keyboard flute. Buonasera, thank you, Waltz. All right, Quentin. Couldn't see the chat disappeared there. Let me keep looking. Yeah, lovely. So yeah, Tang Ping. The title means lie flat. It was a kind of anti-work movement that kicked off in China a couple of years ago. Not too well, you know, it's been likened to a kind of Chinese hippie movement where they just rejected the workaholic mentality where you kind of got to work kind of 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. So yeah, it translates to lie flat. Tang Ping. I am selling the Prophet, Adrian. You know, it's all ready to go. I just need to get my shit together and get it online, get it on the auction sites. If you want to it's 1,500 quid if you want it. If anybody wants the Prophet, it's 1,500 quid. There she is. Lights on it. Lovely vintage synth. But yeah, first person to offer me 1,500 quid gets it. I didn't really intend to use this as a marketplace this evening. Good evening, Joe. Italy representing hard. Delphi, of course you can get a hey-ho, hi-ho, nasty cow. Of course you can. And there it was. A hi-ho, my nasty girl. Yes. Why am I selling it? Well, you know, there's this thing in Scandinavia where they call it death clearance, and you don't want to pass anything on to your kids, so anything that's kind of surplus or extraneous to your life, you just get rid of it before you pop your clogs. So I've started that process, getting rid of all the things I don't need. Yeah, tell your dad to join us, though. So, anything I can tell you about tankping? I think that's it. I've exhausted all the tankping knowledge there. Drums. Yeah, kind of like swing 6/8 kind of cross polyrhythmic thing. Kind of rolling rhythm with triplets across it. And then a bit of twangy harp thing. I can't remember what I got that off. A bit kind of Asian sounding. A bit harpsichordy. Always the John Barry. There's a touch of the John Barry influence in there. Always. Hola. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for joining us, Angela. Yeah. Thanks, Adrian. Oh, it's a Profit 600 for those that have asked. Good evening, Grant, the offshore wizard. Are you offshore? We are drinking tonight, Sarah. I'll raise a toast to you and yours. Thanks, Carl. So yeah, tankping draws to a close. So next up, track 3 is leaving civilization behind us. So you got all your spoken word at the top there is from a tour guide in San Francisco who was driving the bus to Muir Woods, and he was giving us the bad news about there being no internet up there. Don't cry. Get internet. Don't cry. We're going to be and so because we don't have internet, he actually translated that as leaving civilization behind us, which would have been kind of valid if I'd have gone to some remote woods, but I got there and it was busier than Paragon Station. It's absolutely packed. That's an Ebo. That's one of them. So I'm playing the guitar with that there. It's not an actual Ebo, it's a copy. A yo-yo. And you put it on your string and it just makes your string vibrate endlessly. I think the first person I saw using it was Bill Nelson. In fact, I know it was. And then John McGeoch, I think he used to use one as well. And it was on a McGeoch copy guitar, actually, which is that one I got from Eastwood Guitars. So that's all Ebo work there. Acoustic jammage going on in the background. Yes, my eldest boy. Martin's with us from the side of the pond. Good evening, Mr. Gibson. Good evening, Mr. Harris. Nice to see you all. Let's recharge the glass. Excellent, 37 view. Help if I took the top off. 37 viewers. It's paid to push it. I used to just appear with these out of the blue because everybody had been notified when I went live, but they seemed to stop doing that and the reach went crap. And then, you know, the Weld and his wife started streaming in the pandemic. I thought it's lost its novelty factor, and melodica spotted there, Adrian. It lost its novelty factor, so I didn't do one for the last album. And then I thought, if I'm going to do one for this one, I might as well actually, because people moaned about missing them. Why didn't you tell me I'd have tuned in? So I thought this one I will actually get my shit together, make an event and tell everybody that it's happening. And as Adrian spotted there, that's a melodica on the track there. I should have pointed that out as it went past. Augustus Pablo, rest in peace. And that's Gary Hammond as well on this, not on the timbales, but on hand percussion, some metalwork, splashes and general kind of colouring and textures. More Ebo. Yeah, gentle shuffler, I think. Probably shuffler. I'm constantly having this problem of pigeonhole issues. As I said to Macron on Saturday, the standard line I throw out now is pigeonholes are full of pigeon shit. I'm really hard to categorise. It is commercial suicide. I've got used to it. That's just how it is. But I find it hard to define my own work. I don't know what rack you'd put this in. I get thrown in the electronica box all the time. Most of my stuff's a million miles from electronica. It's organic as fuck. So yeah, anyway, will I ever get to the audience that'll love me? If we just go on descriptions, that is. I've already got me cabal of righteous followers. God bless them all. But yeah, in terms of kind of like, playing the commercial game, people are like, well, what genre is it? I'm like, I don't fucking know. You tell me. What we up to now? Here we go. It's the 4Fs. The 4Fs, yes. Well, I should imagine most people know what the 4Fs are. Or they can guess. It's to do with the hypothalamus. Yeah, the hypothalamus, which regulates your basic biological drives. Your basic biological drives. So if you think what the 4Fs, your basic biological drives are going to be fighting, fleeing, feeding, and fornicating. So this is spot on, Fred. Oh yeah, good call. Like that, Meggie. Quiet Life, Japan. I'll take that as a similarity. So the 4Fs. The 4Fs is actually one that I found in the archives when I was trawling through the DATs for various people, either International Feel, Running Back Records, or Rewarm Records, who've all been after archive Feel of Brazilian material, hence the glut of releases that are coming out this year. But in that period, in that process of looking through all the old DATs, I found things that I'd completely forgotten about. I didn't even know existed, and this was one of them. So this was from Albion Street. This is at least, God, it must be like, it's over 20 years old, because we moved from Albion Street in 2004. So I think maybe even older, maybe like 25 years old. But as soon as it needed an edit, it was ridiculously long. I think it was like 15 minutes. I had to trim it down. But I was like, well, that still stands up. I like it. So that got onto the shortlist and stayed. It was on the long list and then got to the short list and then ended up on the actual last 10. Is that Macca? Yes. Good evening, sir. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Coco. I shall put it in an uncategorisable box. I shall do that, brother. Good call. Mr. Bignell, good evening. Yeah, well, you know, pineal gland, bit of pineal gland vibes in there, Quentin, for sure. Balearic moods. Yeah, that's the bin it should go in. Well, not even Balearic, you know. I mean, there's lots of that's just not Balearic at all. Far from it, you know. But yeah, I suppose, you know, horses for courses. When you find me, you know, you either like me or you don't. It doesn't really matter what I'm called. Good evening, Mr. Waring. Oh, there's such a lovely... Do you know, it really did pay off announcing this, because it's a lovely roll call of chums in the chat there. Righteous brethren. Feel free to tell me if the Sonics, you know, if you want me to turn the music up, if I'm too loud. It sounds alright in my cans, but you know, after it's been compressed and thrown out on the pipes, you know, it could be another matter entirely. Yeah, plot's going well there. I shall be selling that. At the end of the night. I lost my chat for a second there. There we go. Back on the scene. Alright, Shep. Thanks for joining us, Chief. Mr. Powell. Good evening, Colin. Thank you for jumping on board, Skipper. Lovely to see you all. Raoul. Excellent. Well, I'm honoured. I'm honoured that many people can be, you know, distracted by me on a Saturday night. Good evening, Sonny. So yeah, in terms of production, this one, you know, I mean, it's 25 years since I did it, so I can't really tell you the machines or. There's a bass harmonic in there. That was just done on a bass guitar. I played that. That's all on a bass. But everything else about it, no idea how I put it together. Like I said, I can't remember doing it. I have no recollection of doing it at all. If it hadn't have been on, well, I know it's me, but if it hadn't have been on that, you know, I could have passed it off as somebody else's, I suppose. Good evening to Man from Berlin. I hope I've pronounced that right. Taman. They are Chinese characters, Fred. What had happened was I had the title for the album, The New Law of Righteousness. I had that ready to go for a while. There was another couple. What was it? Oh well, Viva Melvin was going to be the title, and then I ended up The New Law of Righteousness, which I'd got from a diggers pamphlet from the 17th century, and the diggers were ones who were kind of onto redistributing the wealth and land for everybody, you know, and not being able to anti-kind of what was the Fencing Act? Yeah, so he did a pamphlet. Gerard Winstanley, who was the quite high up in the diggers, did a pamphlet called The New Law of Righteousness in 1647, and so as soon as I saw that title, I thought, that's the title, because I'm forever telling people that they're righteous and things are righteous. One of my favourite descriptors. And then I was watching a lot of Akira Kurosawa films over Christmas, and I thought, I had a little brainwave. I thought, I wonder what it looked like in Mandarin characters. So I got in touch with Zach, Chill Zach in Japan, who got me over there a few times. Really good friend, lovely bloke. And asked him if he could get somebody to I wanted it in Japanese calligraphy. I didn't want it just translating it. I wanted it done in proper Japanese calligraphy. And he said he knew a monk that he could speak to. But that didn't come off, and so I went on to Etsy, of all places, and I found two calligraphers, and so I commissioned the work. I had one done in gold on black, and then the other one just black and white. And so the black and white's going to get used on the labels on the vinyl, and then the gold was for the sleeve. Here we go. So that one passed fairly quickly. So we're on to what we're up to now. Track 5. The World and Your Place in It. Oh, that was going to be the track, the LP title as well. The World and Your Place in It. But again, it got shuffled back just to a tune title. Good evening, Dan. Thanks for joining us, mate. You don't need you don't need Saturday night BBC light entertainment. You've got de classe light entertainment right here. Super light entertainment. Good evening, Kyle. I meant to give you a shout out when I liked you there, brother. From Missouri. It's proper United Nations vibe. We've got all points of the compass joining us this evening, which is Ace. Glad I got your name right, man. So yeah, The World in Your Place in It. This came about by, I was just testing MIDI on, again, the Prophet 600 had been in for repair, and so I wanted to test MIDI, so I linked up. I've got this little Behringer 303 copy called a TB3. Just unplug it. There, that one. So I had that playing a little pattern, and then feeding that pattern into the Prophet, and then recording them both. Just recorded them both right down the track, whilst agitating the knobs on the machines, not on myself. And so, yeah, that was the kind of spine of the track. And then found a break, stuck that underneath it, and then them chords. They were the last thing to go on the chords. Yeah, I didn't know Billy Bragg did the song about diggers. I'm not really up on Billy Bragg. I got Billy Bragg's first EP that he did, and then after that, I kind of he was off my radar. Now, where's that from? That's a sample. I can't remember where I got that from. That little plucked thing. That's taxed. So yeah, a little bit acidic. I mean, you wouldn't call this Balearic, would you? Cheers, Raoul. Look at that. Great chords, lovely chords. I presume that is definitive proof that they are lovely chords for two people to say the same thing. You're welcome, Biggers. I'm glad you're joining us, mate. So yeah, I don't know what Rachty, what's this one? Acid lounge. Acid lounge. That's the genre that I'm going to insist I'm racking. Cheers, Billy. So how long did it take me to write the tracks? Now, I took a lot longer on this album than I usually do because it was slated. I usually like to get an album a year out, and I missed last year. I didn't put an album out last year. It was the first time in 30 years I think I released an album, because I put 2 out the previous year. I've Lived You All My Life, my mum's album, and Shanty Bivouac, kind of only 4 or 5 months apart, and I thought, well, there's a bit of a logjam here. So I was going to put this one out late on last year, and then I had a run-in with the publishers. Well, I tried to leave and I couldn't because I'd not given them due notice, and so then they told me I could get out of the deal on the 31st of March. So I thought, well, if that's the case, the album comes out on the 1st of April. And because I'd kind of set such a long date in the future, this was like October last year that I thought, oh well, it's going to have to come out when the publishing's finished, because I didn't want them to have it. It gave me a lot of time to work on it and go back on and really fine tune it, and I don't usually do that much. I'm not a fine tuner. I'm a kind of 7 out of 10 man, that'll do. But I think like this album's possibly, there's more 8s and 9s on there, a lot less 7s for me anyway. And so yeah, it possibly took a lot longer than I would have normally taken on it, but it most probably benefits from the extra care. Well, it does. I can tell when I listen to it, you know. And then I used to master everything myself, but my ears are going, my top end's going. So I've got Chris at Blacklisted to do the mastering, and you know, I just try to push the boat out a little bit more sonically, a little bit more quality control, I suppose. Not that there's much. All right, here you go. It's the loose tooth. It might come out tonight. You never know. Warming up a bit. Yeah, I've been waiting for it to drop out. I rang the dentist in January. Need a tooth out, and he says, "Oh, are you in pain?" I says, "Not particularly. I've had gum disease for 20 odd years, and so they just slowly kind of receded, and my teeth have got wobblier and wobblier, but all my roots are like solid." So I says, "Not particularly." He says, "Oh, we'll wait for it to fall out then." So I was like, oh, all right. So I've been waiting 2 months for it to fall out, and it's getting wobblier and wobblier. Yeah, I was going to pull it out live on air. Deb said I should do it for some kind of clout. But no, I'm going to have to get booked in next week because I can't eat. Well, I can eat, but it's getting on my nerves. Thanks, Rich. So yeah, this is the world and your place in it, whatever that might be. I often ponder that. As I'm sure most of my chums do. So that's just drawing to, yeah, there we go. The world and your place in it. Track 5 on the new law of righteousness, out today on Declasse, available through Bandcamp and other reputable vendors. Here we go. Everything is smoothed by time. This is another DAT special. Another one exhumed from Albion Street, DATs of yore. I didn't do anything to this. It was just absolutely perfect as it was. Again, another one I'd completely forgotten that I'd done. I had no recollection of it. Thanks, I. So, but you know, Alzheimer's is real. Massive holes in my Swiss cheese memory. So there was. I wasn't sure whether it was a feeler track. I sent it to Man. I says, "Is this a feeler tune?" He was like, "No." Might be, he says, but I don't think so. So I thought it'd be me then. I'm pretty sure it's me. But it's either me or feeler. Yeah, everything's smooth by time. It was just untitled on the. Oh, should I put a link for the LP in the chat? Well, you can pin them at the top. Somebody told me, didn't I? I don't know how to do that. The new law of righteousness. There it is. I'll just stick it in the comments here. There's the link for the album if anybody wants to invest. It is going to be on wax, Steve. Yes, I'm going to get round to. I usually kind of go through the album twice, so just before I go around the second time, I'll get the live view of the album launch. It's only me clicking a button saying release now, you know. In fact, I'll do. I don't know what I'm waiting for actually. Let's do it now. Let's get on a bit of a live browser scene. There you go. There's my page. Let's edit the vinyl campaign. Oh, no, we don't want to wait. We don't want to wait. No, we don't want to do that. We just want to launch it, don't we? Where's my launch? Do you know what? I'll wait for that. I'll find it in my emails. The launch link. I sent it from Rochelle yesterday. I forgot to actually clear it, and I only spoke to her 2 days ago. I was like, I've left it in the system. Can you find it for me and fast track its launch? Boom. Says view summary and submit and view draft. It doesn't look like it's ready to go. Maybe we need to speak to the kind of people at the label and get that ready to go. It's weird. So I'd be able to just launch it from oh well. Maybe needed to launch it at the same time as the where's it up? Can anybody see that on the page? The vinyl campaign on that. I wonder if I can just do it from there. Manage vinyl campaign. No, it's just asking me to edit it. Edit goal and pledges. View draft. Yeah. No idea how to get that going. It looks like it's going to have to be tomorrow, that. I'll get on it. I thought I'd be able to just go straight across. No, I'm not going to do a CD. I can't sell them, Angelo. Have I already put this out? that would be funny. Wow. I've done that before. What was it? Coastline Summer Festival. I think it came out as something completely different. I'd forgotten I'd released it. It's highly likely. Like I said, you know, the brain's not what it was. What's that? I will do, Vince. I'll say hello to Mr. Hogarth. Yeah, I'm not going to get sidetracked with that vinyl faff. It's distracting me already. So, here we go, Bernal Spheres. Bernal Spheres are the things that you have in space, that you live in, big like science fiction hoops. I think the bloke who designed them was called Bernal. So that's where the title for this one's from, Bernal Spheres. And this is another 6/8 job, yeah. This is the oldest one, I think, of the new ones, not the ones that I got off the dart. This is must be the oldest of the recent crop. Where's my chat? There we go. Yeah, it's right. You're right. Like, so for people that aren't looking at the chat, Quentin's asked, do we think CDs, cassettes? I can't sell CDs. People do often ask for them, but I can't sell them. Vinyl, yes. CDs, they just end up gathering dust on the shelves back there. So, I can't press them up. It's not wise. Quentin was asking, do I think CDs, cassettes will make a comeback? And Raoul, who runs a record shop, just said no. Which obviously I concur with. it's super boutique CDs. There's a few people buying, but like the minimum runs, I think you've got to have 100 made. You know, I must have sell like 10. But you know, never say never, as they say. Good evening, Mr. Von Trapp. How are we? Thanks for investing, Kyle. Appreciate that, brother. Bit of organ. Yeah, got really synths on this. Do you know that might be? Can't remember what that top line was off. Flying through the windows. So thanks everybody for locking in. It's very kind of you. We're doing well. Especially considering it's a Saturday, I thought people would have 1,000 other things to do. Yeah, so that was Bernal Spheres, track 7 on A New Law of Righteousness. Then the next one is it's a bit of a mouthful. I'm a bit previous here, we've got another few seconds on that one. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. How's the plot doing? It's going well. Don't know if you can hear it squeaking on the mic. It's a noisy machine for sure. Pardon me. And again. Sunday in Oz, is it, Walter? So we've got Australia, Missouri, Italy, Malta. Anybody else want to give us a shout from any non-UK shouts? Yes, we'll have them. So this is All the Faith I had no effect. Because it is still valid to write that, even though there's 4 hads together, because I like English. But it kind of summed up where I was politically. And I'm apolitical now, really. I don't think politics will change anything. I think it'll always be governed by money men. I don't want to go off on a negative, but yeah, grassroots is the way. Can't rely on elected representatives because they're easily bought. And the ones that aren't easily bought are vilified. And that's it for the politics. Chicago, come on, of course. The Gibsons in Chicago. I should have done a little map. Should have had a little map. Boston, come on. Boston in the area. New Jersey, should have shouted out Fred in New Jersey. Good American representation. In fact, I'm just about to book my flights to New York in October for 3 Friends' 50th celebrations. I'm going to be there for a weekend. I might try and get a gig. Thank you, Mr. Jones, just talking about you. One of the fellow travellers to New York, the Scouse brethren. A couple of Manx. Yeah, we get good representation in the States. When I look at the stats, you know, for listeners, we are well liked in America. Must be our best territory. You're supposed to get visas for gigs, yeah, but yes, my brother. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you're supposed to do it by the book, but you know, I have done it by the book every time. Gulps. Yeah, nice one, Fred. Yeah, well, hopefully, hopefully I can sort of gig out. There's a couple of friends that have asked me to do dates in New York, so if I give them like enough forewarning, then we should be able to get something sorted. It's pretty short, this one, isn't it? Yeah, it's just winding down now. Yeah, the timings are all over the shop. Again, commercial suicide. That's the name of the game. Thanks to whoever's just bought it. I should give him a shout out, shouldn't I? Let's go to Bandcamp. Pan me phone. Chris Von Trapp, thank you. Sal Toasty and KB83, thank you for investing. Growing in lunar soil. Here it is, it's a long one, 10 minutes. A little bit of an abstract one, this. I was in two minds whether to put it on the album. Did it really kind of sit in there? Did it make sense to have it alongside the others? And I ended up working it actually. It was initially no. The initial kind of state it was in, I wouldn't have put it on the album because it didn't make sense. It was just too abstract, and so I had to tighten it up. A lot of editing, but it was actually originally just a load of Polish radio samples, all kind of knit together, proper kind of smorgasbord of Polish radio samples that I found this kind of like cachet of them, and just put them right across the keyboard so there was a different sample on every key, and was just like, yeah, that'll do, just knock a new one in. Thanks, Frasma. And then a few trancy loops. The 303 was very late to the game. That's what all that, well, the COD 303, all the acidic burblings are off that. Once I'd put that on, I was like, now it's starting to tie together. This makes sense. And then I dropped a few subtle beats right at the end in a kind of Tangerine Dream style. Very, very underplayed, you know, but just to take it to another gear at the end so that you didn't think, fucking hell, this is dragging. You've got to tell a story in a song, haven't you? You've got to kind of like, well, I think you have, anyway. You've got to try and keep the interest of the listener all the way through. Alright, Zhao, thanks for joining us, brother, and thanks for the kind words. Thank you, Chris. Feeling my guitar playing. Hoping for a chair spin. Well, do you know, it's a different chair, Dale. Oh, look, I've got a secret lab. Like a proper tosser gamer. It is comfy though, I have to say. I mean, I'd quite happily shill for them. If there's anybody from Secret Lab wants to send me free things. But yeah, it's, if I want to get my head down, oh mate, just, oh, look how, that's the way to do it, just like that, yes. Beautiful, beautiful, relaxing vibes. But yeah, so I don't know if it spins by itself actually. It does, but I don't think you'll get a 360. My old chair used to just have a mind of its own. That's my old chair there. I don't know if you can see it at the back. It's now the plotting chair. It's for when I'm sat down at the back. You enjoy your curry, Vince. Excuse me pauses. I can't read and talk at the same time. It's like circular breathing. Yeah, good shout, Stevie. A good album's like an onion, many layers. Canned cortisol. Thank you very much for the kind words. If anybody wants to know what I'm on about, just have a look in the chat. Oh, what's Mick laughing at? So yeah, we're still growing in lunar. I don't know where I got the title from. I read it somewhere, you know, obviously. Didn't make it up myself. Growing in lunar soil. I was like, yeah, evocative. messages. Have I missed anybody else? Don't like to miss anyone. This. Yeah. You can listen to the tune while I'm reading. I don't have to chat every second, do I? I've obviously had to go back through the chat and kind of, I want to, you know, I don't like leaving anybody out. It seems rotten. The guitar next to the window, the yellowish one. Oh, that's a cigar box guitar that Neil Madden made for me. 3-string bluesy special. And if that's the yellowy one, there aren't any windows over there though. That's what's thrown me. Somebody asked about the yellow guitar next to the window. Unless it's that's sad. Sorry. That's a Strat. That's my first guitar. That one. That's just a natural wood finish. Let me go back to the chat and see if I've answered that question. It looks like a Strat. Yeah, that is a Strat. It's a Squire, not a Fender. Rare though. Desirable now. Is that the one? Did I get the right one, to man? Yeah, that one. That one was my first guitar. I got that one. Hello. When I was 15. I was 15. I got that guitar from. It's been demolished now. Place on Anlaby Road. Here we go. Here comes the TD kind of tapping snare. TD being Tangerine Dream, that is. Very, very understated. As a lot of the best things are. What piece of gear have I enjoyed most in the making of the album? Well, most probably the flute, and because it's new to me, and I like the fact that I can even get a note out of it. So I've been enjoying playing the flute, and still really enjoy. I've really laid into the acoustic guitar. That's that one over there. Let's see. It's the screen. That's that one. The blonde one, the Spanish acoustic guitar. Loads of that on this album. I was all over that. That's most probably the one that I've most probably featured the most on this LP. Is the Spanish, the nylon strung guitar. Just a delight to play. Maggie's saying it's a music workshop. Do you remember? Is Music Workshop still on? No, they knocked it down in the Music Workshop on Springband. Yeah. Yeah, well, I could do some guitar and play along if you wanted to. I'll go around the second time once I've had like a bit more to drink. You know, who knows what might happen. Yes, could I answer your question, to man? Correct, Walt, with your observations. So we're still growing in lunar soil here, from the new LP, The New Law of Righteousness. I should find a quote, actually. I should give it, be accurate with its title. It's in my notebooks. Let's have a look. The New Law. I should have had this ready, but down there. It's been in the notebook for a long time. So, was the earth made to preserve a few covetous men to live at ease, and and for them to bag and barn up the treasures of the earth from others, that these may beg or starve in a fruitful land? Or was it made to preserve all her children? I think it was made to preserve all her children in 1649 when he wrote that, and it's still made to preserve all the children in 2023. And that's what I'm saying on that one. Yeah, we did run into hassles clearing samples. So then I just thought, well, you know, it's only worth worrying about if something goes to number one. Because we cleared samples and we got stung for jump leads. Got stung hard. I'm not worried. I don't earn enough to worry about it. I'm never going to be top of the pops. And I've never been an overt sampler, you know. I never like sampling things that are really easy to recognise. I like to kind of disguise things. Nice one, Stu. Welcome, brother. So we've grown in lunar soil there, and we're on to the last track. Track number 10, Ikagi, short one. This one was done on that. The green one. I'll get it up. I made a bridge. You see there? There's a bridge in the middle. So you can kind of play both sides. Should have done that there, so you go. Yeah, so I was messing about with that tuning in the garden, and I ended up getting these changes together, and for the life of me I couldn't repeat them in the studio. I tried, couldn't get the take the same. You know, I was outside and the birds were singing, it was a nice day, so I thought, fuck it, I'll use that. And it was a terrible recording because it was on my phone, but I did my best sonically to try and get rid of the background noise, and then I added some flute, which you can hear there. And I think that was it really. I don't think I added anything else. It was no, some more birds from my back garden, which were, you know, recorded in the same place. So it wasn't like I was making a fake, or what is it, ornithological. Tapestry, yes. So yeah, put some more dick bods over the top, and that was it. You know, I thought that track's finished. And Ikagi it's a Japanese sense of well-being. It's when you get all your life in harmony. I could go into it more than that, but you know, I will do second time round. So that's the first run through of the new law of righteousness. Out today on the classy. Thanks everybody for the lovely messages, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. This will be archived on YouTube. I think they archive on Facebook as well, so you know, you can share it with your friends who may have been at an Orbital gig, for instance. Somebody was telling me this afternoon, love to see you stream, Steve, but I'm off to see James Stewart. It was, in fact, I'm going to see Orbital. Make sure you archive it. So yeah, it'll be. I know Kieran enjoys watching me live streams. My friend Kieran from Liverpool, currently living in India, has regaled me with tales of just getting back in from nights out and just sitting and listening to the dulcet, mellifluous tones of my live streams, which is obviously very flattering. Bless him. He's another one of the New York posse. Theodorus, good evening. What a fantastic name. Theodorus Goulas, where are you, Theodorus? Where have you tuned in from? I mean, obviously that looks Greek as fuck, that name. Thanks, Joe. You know, I think obviously it ended up sounding very Japanese. It was a happy accident, and that maybe informed the reason to go for the Japanese calligraphy on the front. You watch your later Psyche when your battery's recharged. Yeah, it should have been shakuhachi flute on it, shouldn't it really? Starlings mainly, them birds. Goldfinches as well. Get a lot of goldfinches. But yeah, a lot of all that dipping and wooing is the local starling posse. Yeah, I couldn't do them runs. I really like them runs. I just couldn't do them the same again. So anyway, that's the new law of righteousness. First run through. This is the second and final run through. I always get told off if I only do one, so I thought we'll have two. We can have photos with this one. Yeah, let me get my photos up. It's levels, isn't it, brother? Love it. Cheers, Mick. Levels, innit? Nice one, Melody. Thanks, brother. So here we go. Viva Melvin. For the people that didn't hear it the first time round, here we go. Second, cheers, Pip. Vinyl junkie that you are. Let's get the live browser up. I'll get my photos. Hold on, my photos. There they are. Boom. We've got the Melvin. Let's see if we can find a picture. There he is. Yeah, let me get my live browser up. There we go. Melvin, look at him. What a lovely bird. We've got his cage. There we go. So that's the cage I was keeping him in. His little ring on his leg there. Nobody knew. I wonder where he is now. Look, I mean, how could you not thought? What a beautiful bird. Yeah, so it was a puppy cage I was keeping him in. And a couple of days in there, and yeah, it was as right as rain. Oh, I could keep pigeons. I'm a fancier. There he was on my shed roof. That was the day he flew off. On the kitchen roof. That was the day he flew off. I thought, this is my last picture of him. I'll never see him again. And like the next day, boom, I'm in the shed and there he is. On the feeder that I put out for him. Gazing adoringly at me. My heart skipped a beat. Look, I went outside and he stayed there just showing off. I thought he's going to come back every day. I was convinced we were going to become one. But unfortunately, I never saw him again. Viva Melvin here. For the people who didn't hear it the first time round, he was flightless in our back garden, so I kind of fed and watered him. Couldn't find his owner. And then bade farewell to him in his recovered state. Kept throwing food on the roof in hope. Desperate hope he'd return, but no. That was that 7th of October 2021. Jesus. Tempus fugit, anyone? It's exponential time, isn't it? As quicker as you get older. Right, that's my photos anyway. There. Where are we? Where's my chat? Where's my chat board? Where's my brethren? Sisters and brothers, whither thee? Richard Harris tells me that his granddad raced pigeons. Is that the granddad that plays for Birmingham City? Because if it was, I couldn't. It's like I couldn't have been more impressed that he played for the Blues. But he was a fancier as well. Thanks, Nenad. Welcome. I've missed a few. Off you go, biggers. Cheers, Rich. Appreciate that, Chief. I'll play Mystifier later. Love it. let's get the there you go, Viva Melvin. Viva Melvin. First track. Gets the graphic up just as it finishes. Here we go, Tang Ping. Tang Ping. I am still based in Hull, canned cortisol. Wow. I'll put on a barge on the marina. Tell your brother to book me. That sounds ace. Mind you, no, to be fair, I vowed to never play in Hull again. It's just a thankless task. You know, I always end up kind of miserable. But you know, the idea of playing on a Dutch barge on the marina, that appeals greatly. Yes. Yeah, thanks for the pigeon props. Yeah, I loved him. I did. Loved that little fella. By all means, keep the questions coming in the chat. I'm happy to field any queries. Yeah, it's that profit. Yeah, you know, when you've been round it once, you think, well, do people need to hear what I've already said about it? Kind of like Gary Hammond on percussion. That ride, man. Mad rhythm on that ride. It's properly going across it. Lovely. Dutch barge crew assemble. Yeah, that's Grant on it. Cheers, Cole. Is it time to light another incense stick? I think it is. Yeah, it is, Maggie. It's a mighty, not a crafty. The crafty is the next one down. It's a mighty. Stores and Bickle there. Tang Pink. No, the drums are drums are sampled. Whoa. That's played in, that top line, I played that in, that's not a sample. Like I say, touch of the John Barry's there. Do you know, I've been playing at all wall drums because I got rid of it all. It was all at the back of the studio, and I got rid of it all when I got the plotter in place. So I ain't been on drums for like 18 months at least. I need a bigger studio, to be honest, so that I can kind of set up a drum kit. And until then, you know, I just haven't got the space to play. Racks me off, really. But I'm into my new one is that's what I'm obsessing with at the moment. Clarinet. Thoroughly enjoying doing so. But yeah, it'd be nice to have a bigger studio. I was kind of going to extend out that way, and then I thought I should just knock it all down. It's like well past its best. It was only supposed to be here for 5 years, and I built it in 2004. So it's like 15 years longer than it should have done, and it's rotting because it's wood. So I was going to get a brick build together and go about another 8 foot back and another 2 foot out, and then I'd have a live room and a storeroom and a workshop, and that's the idea. I just need this album to go triple platinum, So that's Tang Ping, which is lie flat in Mandarin, and basically don't work your bollocks off, is what the movement's suggesting. The 996 mentality, they say, it's rejecting, which is 9 till 9, 6 days a week. Now that is wage slavery. So Tang Ping, track 2 on my new solo, the 9th outing under my own name. Well, it's the 10th, but I don't really count the soundtrack to Revolutions, because that was just a kind of, that wasn't a proper album. That was just a soundtrack for a play that I did. I don't really consider it. I've deleted it anyway off Bandcamp. I think you can still stream it. So Tang Ping draws to a close as we move smoothly into leaving civilization behind us. I've got photos for this as well. Let's here we go. Live browser. So here it. Come on, where are you? There he is. There's the bus. That's the bus. That's my man at the front there. The guy with the cap on. That's the driver. What is it? Oh no, that cap there, the red one. And oh, actually, you might be able to hear him. There you go.
I come across the Bay Bridge and Sunset Bridge. Over 250,000 cars crossed that bridge in the week. And sometimes it be total gridlock.
Yeah, he was excellent. He was good value. So yeah, it was a trip up to the Muir Woods. When I was in San Francisco last November, I went up to Muir Woods and I ended up sampling the bus driver. That's him that you could hear at the top of the tune. Are you leaving civilization behind us? Because we'd lost internet signal, according to him. That was leaving civilization. But it's where all the giant sequoias are. It's an amazing place. Busy though. You weren't leaving civilization anyway. You joining more of it. Yeah, beastly trees. There's a bird. Yeah, there's the bus trip. It's a good laugh. I liked it. There you go. That's the bridge. There's a graveyard. Yeah. So back to live. Yes, oh, chat room. Chattanooga Choo Choo. Muir Woods. Jason's been to Muir Woods. It was phenomenal. I'd like to go like out of hours, if you know what I mean, when all the bus trips have fucked off. We did have fun in San Francisco, Walt. It was lovely breaking burger you out there, Chief. Crowdfund for the t-shirt is an excellent. Yeah, I struggle to get an album. I struggle to get like enough to make an album, so I think, you know, funding for a building might be a bit of a stretch, but good call, Grant. It's worth having a pop. No, Dave McSherry, me and him do the occasional thing. We've done a remix recently for Rich Culver, the artist, and we did a new tune for Rewarm Records for the retrospective compilation that's coming out in June. So we do casually work together, but Dave, independently, he's kind of like, he's got 2 small children, and he looks after his mum as well. So he's just like, he's retired now from teaching. He was a lecturer, so he hasn't really got a lot of time for music, to be honest. You know, I kind of get I get that. You know, life gets in the way, doesn't it? Have I missed any question? I'm going back through the chat there. No, good. Up to speed. I'm up to speed. Will the tooth come out tonight? We can only wonder. Thanks, Chad. Oh man, that was 2 weeks ago. Chad Carpenter. Where are you visiting us from, brother? Yeah, Big Sarah. I'd love to go down that, Jason. Looks righteous. Where are we? Yeah, it's an Evo. It's how do I put it? Don't know where to put it. It's a contraption for making a guitar sustain. There we go. That's all the guitars on battery might be dead actually. Yeah, don't look like it wants to. Yeah, it makes more sense if I actually plugged it in, I suppose. The 4Fs is next. The only 4 on the floor. 4Fs, 4 on the floor. See what I did? See what I did there? The only one with the crotchet kick beat pattern, which is 4 on the floor. And this is the 4Fs. This was unearthed from an old DAT that I'd found when I was looking for old feeler tunes to license for rewarm and running back an international field. So yeah, it was on an old DAT, and I thought I'd put it out because it sounded. I thought, well, that still stands up. My first band role was a band called Ashley and Jackson, which is a kid from Sheffield, Paul Wheatcroft, me, and then like hired musicians, session musicians, excellent people, loads of top people, Phil Kirby on drums, Bernard Moss on flute, Paddy Steer on bass, the inimitable Paddy Steer. And so we had a band together and we got signed to Big Life. We was on DFM Records in Manchester originally, did a couple of 12s on DFM, and then we was on Big Life for a couple of years, and that's when the scales fell from my eyes, because like I realised how labels worked and how you were kind of commodified, and it was just dispiriting to say the least. And so when I got dropped by Big Life and the Ashley and Jackson thing turned to shit, was when Porky wanted to start a record label. And so I became his kind of in-house producer / engineer. Before Ashley and Jackson, I didn't have anything commercially released, but I was in a band called Burn the Index. Burn the Index was my first band, with Mark Richardson and Johnny Lee and John Hopper. And then we sacked John, because I was obsessed with drum machines, I think. We sacked John. Sorry, John. And we became King Douche. But we did it. No, actually, we put a cassette out. The Ingo Dew Snap. That was his name. Ingo Dew Snap. Had a little kind of cassette label, and he asked to put one of our EPs out, and we recorded 4 tunes in his, or it might have been 8 tunes, in his front room. And it came out as called Slava Ho was the cassette, by Burn the Index. And yeah, I was the guitarist. God, Flashback City. North Carolina. I'd go to North Carolina, Chad. You get me a gig, I'm there. I'll come down when I'm in New York. I'll detour to North Carolina before I come home. Asheville. What's it like in Asheville? Good evening from England to Portugal, Miguel. Thank you for joining us, Chief. I've missed a few queries here, haven't I? There's loads of Oscar on the album, Adrian. I should have pointed it out. Still doing loads of remixes, Fred. Yeah, I'm a gun for hire, Chief. Well, I'm not doing loads of remixes, but what was the last remix I turned in? Might have been the Richie Culver one, actually. I think it was. Feel Brasilia remix for the artist Richie Culver, which comes out in a few weeks, I think. I'm not sure when. I was with him last Saturday. Fantastic company. Australia, well, no. The short answer. Any trips to Australia? No, I shall not be going. Chris Von Trapp has kindly put an Ashley and Jackson clip in the comments there for anybody who might be interested in the previous incarnation of my sonic self. Are you living in Australia now, Walt? Have you moved? That's mad. Go back to Jill's homeland. So yeah, that bass harmonics, that riff there's just like, when you kind of get on the 12th fret of a bass and just twat the harmonics. Yeah, I made a melody out of that. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's that long ago. I did this tune. Like I said, the archival box that it was in was like stuff that was from 25 years ago. It must probably, you know, it's, if anything, this one's must have got like, it sounds like an outtake from how about some Ether maybe, or the one after. Bit solid doctory though, or very solid doctory, you know. Thanks Annie, and good evening. Joe Marino's just said, thank God you're playing the album again, it saved me from watching Great Expectations with the missus. Is it that bad? Yes. Hey, Fred, if you've got remix work, mate, I'm your man. Lob it my way. Oh, that's no false ending. Radio love ya for them. Well, where are you living in Oz now, Walt? Wow, yes, good move. I know you was thinking of moving. Good choice. Excellent standard of living. The wine's starting to take hold. Wow, 42 people still interested. Incredible. Always flattered. Always flattered with people's interest. Bendigo, Victoria. Wow, I'll look it up on the map. Chief. Bendigo. Or Bendigo. I don't know how you pronounce that. So play at school there was it? And Bendigo for tea. The line. Anyway, I'm off there. Steady on. Plot update. I'll get my head out of the way. Nearly finished. Nearly done. Looking good. Get that across there. For light purposes. There we are. Pardonnez-moi. The 4 Fs, if you will. The world and your place in it. Track 5 on today's release. Yeah, I don't think you must be getting any stereo pan in here because I was having trouble with the mono stereo faff, unfortunately. In fact, last 2 nights I've done tests for this stream and it was all going absolutely swimmingly. I go to watch City today. We kind of dropped 2 points against Rotherham. 0-0. Get in, have my tea, Spanish chicken and chorizo, slow cooking speciality, and comes down the shed. Right, let's get set up. Nothing worked. 7:05, absolutely everything that had gone swimmingly the previous 2 nights I plugged in. It was like the music wasn't feeding in, I wasn't getting, the mic had all gone quiet. It was just like, what? So you know, it was almost like abandoned ship at 20-7, but streaming god smiled on me, and here we are. But unfortunately, the upshot of that is that it's in mono. I couldn't get it as a stereo feed. Hey, if you want to listen to it in stereo, buy the fucking thing, yeah? Yeah. Which lots of you have. You know, I mean, there we go. Malky, BO1. Oh, but Swadadi. I'm not pushing that one tonight. Thank you though. Kumquat bought the new Law of Righteousness. Adam W, thank you. Mark Jones, thanks brother. Grassy Null. It's my old tour manager. Absolute diamond of a man. Thank you, Noel, if you're watching. Frasma, thanks. Saltosi, oh no, we did that one, didn't we? Excellent. Many thanks for everybody who's put hands in pockets. You know, even if you're just going to listen to it on Spotify forever, and you're not going to download it, and you're never going to get it from Bandcamp, just go over there and donate to me. That's all I ask, is just to do a bit of recompense for my graft, if you will. Music's not free. It just feels like it is at the moment, but you know, if you've got, you know, a conscience, then you've got to kind of reward the people that have rewarded you, surely. You know, if I've brought any joy into your life, but then, you know, I don't want to get kind of on a marketing tip. But you know, it would be nice to be able to earn a living. I don't earn a living from music. Thanks, Adrian. Yeah, well, like anybody who has, like, you know, anybody who has invested, I can't thank you enough. The Millers was shit, Rob. That's Rotherham's nickname, by the way, for the non-footballing international audience. They were shit. They just put 10 men behind the ball. It was, well, it obviously went down to 10, so he put 9 men behind the ball, but anti-football it was. Cloggers, I hope you go down. Sorry, my footballing head took over then. That's just, you know, it's meant to be adversarial. You know, it's not touchy-feely. Oh, that's the Oscar. Somebody was asking me, is there any Oscar on the album? That's the Oscar. That's the Oscar. Can you see the Oscar right at the back of the shed? Still on an extended loan from the god Don Peter Ives, who was a seminal DJ at Silhouette, massive influence on me. He kindly has given me an extended loan. I've had it for years. And there it is at the back of the shed. Oh, hang on, can you see it? Oh yeah, the pop guard's in the road, and here you go. The Oxford Synthesizer Company, OS, Oxford Synthesizer, C Company, yes, that's right. Rare as hen's teeth, rocking horse shit levels of rarity. Thank you, Grant, for investing, brother. I can't remember where I got the drums from. But yeah, it was the Prophet and the TB3 doing that. The bass. The Prophet that's for sale, if anybody wants. Might be a slash break coming. Do apologise. Thanks for investing, Andrew. Yeah, my bladder isn't what it was. It's not at youthful dimensions, that's for sure. Thanks, John. John asked me, am I constantly writing, creating new music, or do I have breaks? I used to be a lot more full on. I'd kind of do something every day, but that's less the case now. As I found other things to occupy my creative interests, and I find the music's better if I come back it with a fresh ear, and rather than just coming in and kind of being like, you know, kind of methodic, kind of production line kind of mentality. I kind of prefer it if I just go, I'll come down the shed and do some music if I'm in a musical mood. But if I'm in the shed a lot of the time and I'm not doing music all the time, I'm in the shed, so obviously I'm plotting, I'm reading a lot of the time, or just playing the flute and the clarinet, just learning, just kind of practicing. Do a lot of that these days. So I suppose that, but I don't see that as writing music. It's a musical pursuit, but I don't see that as part of the writing process, just coming and rehearsing, learning. Everything is Smooth by Time is track 6, I think. Let me double check. Yes, everything's Smooth by Time. Yeah, I'm gonna have to have a lag. The wine's gone through me. Totally agree, Joe. That TV3 for 99. All the Behringer stuff's insane. So cheap. Right, yeah. Yeah, you can enjoy the plotter for a second. So I see the chair swung and completely obscured everything there. Total obscuring swivel of the chair there. That's the wine all done in. Alright, so man, the writing, that's a plotting machine that I got a couple of years ago, and so you can pretty much, it holds a pen, and so you can kind of turn anything into what you call an SVG, scalable vector graphic, and then it'll pretty much draw the thing that you've input into it. So if you go to Cobby Arts on Instagram, you can see all the previous plots that I've done over the last couple of years. Thanks, Vince, and welcome. Yeah, Cobby Arts on Instagram, and you can see all the plots on there, and some time lapses. You get a rough idea of like how the machine kind of goes. It's an XY plotter, pen plotter. Yeah, I got kind of mildly obsessed with it for a while. Yes, I. Yeah, I should plug them in. I should jam along with stuff. I might do gigs on OBS. I've thought about it. OBS is the streaming software, sorry. On Facebook Live, or Bandcamp do it now as well. Bandcamp do a streaming service, so you can do live streams on Bandcamp now. So I might do that. I might just do some form of. I was just going to DJ on it, doing the 30 years of Feeler best of part 2. I was going to stream that on Bandcamp, and then I thought, well, actually, I could do performances on there. I don't know, one day. Never say never. not a full score. Have I ever been asked to do a score for a film? I've never been asked to do a full score, but we've been used on a lot of films. A lot of the music's been licensed for things. The last big one was Pavarotti documentary that Ron Howard did. You know Ron Howard from Happy Days? He's a massive director, you know. Yeah, he used Subtle Body in the scene where Pavarotti's told he's got cancer, apparently. That's nice, isn't it? Nice to know. Yeah, check out them Bandcamp streams out, Joe. It looks pretty interesting. You're welcome, Andy. You see, I'm always touch and go whether to do a second run through because it feels like I'm just retreading. But thanks, Grant. But obviously, there's always people that forgot I was broadcasting or otherwise engaged, and so the second run through seems to make sense, really. And I get progressively more drunk and amusing. City of Vultures, I have thought about it, which was a set of gigs that I did a few years ago. Grant's just asking me about, but I mean, you know, it's a faff, innit? Here we go, Bernal Spheres. Do you want to know what a Bernal Sphere looks like? I'll find one for you. There you go. I'll Google them. Bernal Spheres. Images. Hang on, live browser, type scene. There you go. There's Bernal Spheres. You get the idea what a Bernal Sphere looks like. Does that make the tune sound any different? Do you get any auto suggestion of it? Yeah, Bernal Spheres. Communities in space in a centrifugal scene. Yeah, that's what that is. I think this was an album, but not as old as the others that I'd found on the Albion Street. That was The World and I forget my own titles. People are like, oh, I can't remember your titles. I'm all like, neither can I, to be fair. Let's get live. Oh, we are live. That was still on the browser. No. Chattage. I got distracted. That's my chat page. There it is. Boom. And I need more wine. If anybody in my house is still watching, Herbie, Deb, could you bring me some wine down? Maybe I don't actually. It's my downfall. It's this point where I just go, yes, come on. Like a snowball going downhill, you kind of pick up the momentum, and it's. Now this is where I actually need to put the brakes on if I don't want to feel like shit tomorrow. Deep breath. Bernal Spheres, track 7 on A New Law of Righteousness, on De Classe Records, DCLS 48 is the catalogue number. Not that anybody will ever need that. I might do for the vinyl. Do you know, I'm going to go and have a look, see if I can get that vinyl going. It would just be a release now button, but they're in. Oh well. No, it just says manage. I thought it'd just be like, right, launch vinyl campaign. Yeah, that's going to be next week for that, isn't it? Never mind. No rush. Oh no, he's here. Yes. Let yourself be known. knock 3 times on the parlour table. No. Spheres of the Bernal variety. False ending, you know I like them. A port wine would be nice. Got one in the house, but you know, it'd take me too long to go and get it. So that was Bernal Spheres. We're moving slowly towards the end. Here we go. All the Faith I had no effect. Track 8, acoustic, that one there, the nylon strung one, that's all on that puppy. Oscar bass, yes, I remember it was Oscar bass on this one. Only because I remember doing the Instagram clip of it. What's it like for heights? Yeah, get stuck in, Vince. Sun's over the yard arm. Another one that came together in the garden. But I did actually manage to get into the studio to record this one. Unlike the last track, very last track on the album, that came together in the garden and I ended up having to use that audio. But this one, yeah, I'd done a bit of noodling in the garden, shared the clip actually. And when you share a clip and it gets like pure love, you think, well, I need to run with that one. It's great, really, social media for that, you know, for me, because I'm very kind of ad hoc. I just throw something up that I've been like messing about with, and if it gets like 10 likes, you think, oh. But you know, if people are feeling it, you think, oh yes, this one's worth developing, and this was one of them. You know, the original riff that I'd had. And then yeah, just a bit more nylon noodling over the top. It's not noodling, that's me being self-deprecating, but you know, decoration. So it's, yeah, nylon base, nylon decoration, and then a few kind of like coral pads just to. And then it was that's drum. What's that? Microtonic. The drums are off. It's a little plug-in, nice little analog plug-in, Microtonic. Any producers looking for a nice little analog box? It's great. Pardon me. Yeah, it's pretty short though, this one. Oh, the plot's finished, Macca. Yes, thanks for telling me, brother. Right, who wants it? The highest bidder gets that. It's yours. The plot from the night. Mick's still with us. I thought you'd have found something else to do there, Skip. So yeah, all the faith I had no effect. Here we go. Growing in lunar soil. I wonder what you grow in lunar soil. I can't remember what they were on about, but something was growing in lunar soil, but it seems a difficult thing to do. Not being in the atmosphere and the like. Thanks, Dan. So yeah, these are a lot of Polish radio samples. People didn't get the first run through. It was an assembly of Polish radio samples that I then put some TB3 over. TB3. And that kind of pulled it together, really. A little bit of a wibbling acid line. But yeah, very soundtracky, I suppose. Hopefully somebody will license it. Tooth still in. Tooth watch. Nassim, JB, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Better late than never. Enjoy the wine, brother Michael. Yeah, I know, lockdown vibes here. That was me. Yeah, this is most probably, I was channeling Tangerine Dream, and like Bill Nelson's more experimental stuff couldn't have influenced me. That's one of my biggest influences. Like Sounding the Ritual Echo, the free album that came with Quit Dreaming and Get on the Beam. That's like, and then the Chamber of Dreams. What was it called? There's a box set from the Book of Splendors. Jesus. Yeah, all of Bill's kind of experimental stuff was, I mean, that set me off on a path that I never kind of left. So there's definitely loads of Bill in there, but a bit of Tangerine Dream as well. It was TB3 that's him. So yeah, there's a bit more. There's more Tangerine Dream in this tune than anything else, I guess. They were a big Encore, the album. There's a live album by Tangerine Dream called Encore. I'd just tell anybody to get it. It's just an astonishing piece of work. I just swam in it as a kid, and still do. You know, there's like 4 tunes, and they're all about 17-20 minutes long. These beautiful electronic trancey systems looping, astonishing. Yeah, again, huge influence on me. That album especially. I mean, I like Tangerine Dream a lot. They did some shit later on, but like at the peak in the like the late 70s, just unsurpassable. But they weren't doing any acid, that's for sure. So like when I say I'm channeling TD, I've never channeled anybody 100%. I think everybody who follows my music knows that. I'm not into just simulacrums and just copying somebody's work, I think you just got to add something of your own. And so it has to be an amalgam of all the things you love, It has to be that. It has to be a tapestry, a montage of the things you love. That's what your output should be. Subconsciously, not consciously either, Thanks, Nick. I can't have dental implants, Joe, right? Because my gums have receded. I've got gum disease. I've talked about them. They're like, you haven't got enough gum to put an implant in. So it's dentures all the way, Skip. Unfortunately. Yeah, what we had to minute. Where did I bring the ticking in? Yeah, 4 minutes 15. So that, because it's like a 10-minute tune, you can't just have the same thing barreling away for 10 minutes. People get racked off. So usually, like, they say the 2-minute 20 mark, that's when you've got to do something different in a song. 2 minutes 20, that's when you've got to do something different. But that's 7 mentality. But even on 12s for me, at some point you've got to, like, you can't go doing the same thing over and over. You've got to turn a corner. You've got to just introduce a new element, add another layer. But not pushy, it's all done in the best possible taste, as Kenny would say. You want it to have an organic flow, everything that you're doing. You want it to make sense. But yeah, you don't want to repeat yourself. It's like English, writing songs. It's like English. You don't want to use the same word over and over again, and so you don't want to repeat yourself. But you also want to keep the story going. And even if you've got 4 elements in the tune, the way that you mix them together will make the tune sound completely different at any point in relation to how loud each separate element is. So you've just got that to play with at first, and then you've got the capacity to introduce new things as well. So that's how, for me, arranging. I hate arranging songs, to be honest. I love getting a song in its infancy. I like a song in its infancy when it's just you putting like new ideas down, and it's just like fresh as new paint. Everything's just the new and then you have an obligation to tidy that up and turn it into something that somebody else would want to listen to, and that's when I get racked off. That's what takes a long time, the tidying up. But you know, I must have tidied up more on this album than I have on previous ones, that's for sure. Because I was saying on the first run through, the reason it's took longer than usual is because I wanted to get out my publishing deal, and that finished yesterday, 31st of March. I wanted to get out of that before I put anything out new, and so 1st of April was when it was slated for, and that was back in kind of October. So it gave me a lot longer to finish it off properly, polish it up, you know. Cross the T's and dot the I's. But yeah, I was going back to stuff, and it was like, man, that is so much better for just whatever I'd done, you know, the tweaks, as you call them. Every time I went back and did a tweak, I was like, wow, yeah, I'm really glad I didn't put out the original version. You know, I had versions ready to go, and then I thought, oh, maybe I should just went back to it. I don't normally do that. Went back to it, had a little go, better. But I mean, that possibly comes from not working in here every day as well. It gives you you're a bit more objective about it. Subjective, objective. So yeah, I'll be watching the boxing, Joshua. So as soon as this run through's finished, it's hasta la vista. Yeah, Polish radio samples, bit spooky. You know, but they ended up knitting together quite nicely. I can't remember where I got the Polish radio samples from. It was like a fully formed set of samples that I downloaded from somewhere. Thank you, Paul. Very kind brother. So yeah, that was the last thing I put on, was that little kind of brush. It's not brushwork, it's an analog drum machine. But it's amazing what a little thing like that can do. It just gives it a little bit of a gear change, a bit of energy. It's turning into a fucking writer's masterclass. But you know, I like to share my work, my process. Faders coming up, other stuff going down, gently, subconsciously almost. Ever-changing picture. Subtly shifting sands. Subtly shifting sonic sands. It's quite hard after a bottle of wine. Ding. See, that's a bit of a Detroit vibe. Ding. Ding. Grown in Lunar Soil draws to a close, and we come to the final tune, Ikigai, which was recorded in the back garden on my phone, and then I chucked some Flu and a few more birds over the top. I tried re-recording it, but it was appalling, forced. It just sounded terrible. I never got any. I tried about 5 times to re-record this in the studio after I'd done my little session outside in the garden, and it didn't get anywhere near. It was just miles off. Red light fever, as I used to refer to it as. As soon as that record button goes on, everything changes. Whereas if you're just noodling in the back garden and recording on your phone, there's no pressure. It's effortless. And so I thought, well, I'll just keep the effortless take and see what I can do with it, you know. So it's a bit dirty, but it's the last track, so it doesn't really matter, does it, you know. It's an outro. Starlings. Hi, Louise. Obviously a lot of people are either joining late or going to miss it completely, but it will be archived if you'd like to watch the full thing again. I can't imagine why. You know, Fred. But yeah, it's been a lovely evening. Fantastic feedback from everybody. Loads of sales. Amused. I don't know who Amused is, but thanks for buying the album. Thanks to everybody who's invested in it today, in fact. And all the lovely words and messages that I've had from everybody on its release. It's very kind of you all, thank you. Always much appreciated. That's my petrol as an independent, marginal artist. You know, it's what keeps me going. Certainly not doing it for the money. Yeah, there's a vinyl campaign, Nick. I tried to run it tonight, but I thought it'd just be one button, but apparently I've got to get it approved again. I thought it was approved and ready to go. But I'll launch the vinyl campaign next week. Well, tomorrow, hopefully. Well, no, what is it? Sunday. There won't be anybody in the office at Bandcamp, so hopefully I can sort it out on the weekend or early next week, and we can have a vinyl crowdfund and see how that goes. Always a mystery. Do you know, I should have found the original clip of me playing this. I would have done if I'd have got it together. You know, that was quite together with me to have a slideshow ready for Melvin and Tang Ping. And my graphics. Oh, look, I ain't changed. Look. See? I think that's the only one I've forgotten to flag up. Ikagai. I was getting a bit too comfortable there, to be fair. It's a sense of well-being, Ikagai, Ikagi. I don't know what the pronunciation is, as you've gathered. But it's a Japanese term, meaning a sense of well-being when you get your life in balance. You know, the things that make you happy, the things that earn you money, the things that are good for the world. You know, you build that Venn diagram, and if you kind of hit the middle spot, that's Ikagai. And that's the album. And that's the second run through of the new Law of Righteousness on De Classe, my new solo outing. Thanks to everybody for joining me for its launch. I very much appreciate it, and thanks for all the comments and everybody's feedback. It makes it worthwhile, obviously, and hopefully you'll tell all your friends about it, and I'll be going triple platinum and building a new shed before you can say the new Law of Righteousness. Thanks, people. Appreciate it. Damn it, you should have said hello earlier. I still want to play in your ice cream van. Mr. Whippy sound system, amazing. He's got an ice cream van that he does gigs out of in the Emerald Isle. So yeah, thanks everybody. Appreciate your attention and your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. What's left of it, and what was it Dave Allen used to say? Good night, and may your God go with you. Love you, everybody. Cheers.